Casey Joyner, ESPN.com NFL insider. He likes the move. After I just said that, Casey, I don't know how you're going to convince me, but you could try, my friend. You can try.
I maybe use a Prince song to do it.
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
When it was that song is apropos because in 1999 the Eagles got McNabb. That's one of these guys, and he's not even on the level of the guy people want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you tied in another Prince song there. Look at that. You're just on a roll with
See
that.
what I did?
One of the reasons I like it, I've got to say, is that I'm a big proponent of the Parcells rules. It's a list of 7 rules that Bill Parcells had for grading quarterbacks when he was looking to pick them in drafts and things. And the track record for quarterbacks who check off all 7 yeses on those questions is really strong. Really, it is franchise quarterback strong. And Carson Wentz, he checked off 4 out of 7. But if he didn't get his wrist injured last year, he probably checked off 6 out of 7. And the only one who wouldn't have checked off is being a 3-year starter, which I don't think anybody doubts he could be a 3-year starter. So looking at it going, the odds that it pans out that he becomes a really good quarterback are strong. But I'm with you that, yeah, you've got Wentz, but you already had Bradford. You already invested all of these picks and everything in money into Bradford. So what are you doing? Why are you trying to get 2 franchise quarterbacks? I mean, if you thought Bradford's the guy, unless they've got some other kind of move in mind from Bradford.
Which of the guys do you like? See, again, to me, the last time someone gave up a haul to get a quarterback, they ended up with the second best quarterback. The one team got Luck. He's one of the guys that you do yearn for. The other team got Robert Griffin III. You're not even getting your pick of the litter here. So which guy of the 2 do you think is the better guy?
I would take Goff. I would take Goff for it's not by a slam dunk though. I really think that they're both. They have different strengths and weaknesses and things, and I could see what some teams would like Wentz better. But they both do a lot. I mean, they're big, strong, they're intelligent. They've got a very good track record. They're guys who have experience in systems that you can translate to NFL work. I mean, there's a lot of things to like about either of these guys. I'm with you that I'm not sure that either of them is going to be a true franchise quarterback. So, if I'm taking it, I'd probably give Goff a slight edge over Wentz. But like I said, I think they're 1 and 1A.
So my big, the thing that I've really contended is, look, you have a guy who was the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and people don't like him. He was the rookie of the year. He was the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Now, he's had his issues. He got hurt. He was very inconsistent last year. My point really is, do Goff or Wentz have a higher ceiling, a better projection of what you already have?
If you can keep Bradford healthy, remember, in the second half of the season last year, Sam Bradford led the league in vertical yards per attempt. It's amazing to think that he did that, given all the what the situation was in Philadelphia last year. But he led the league over the second half of the season in that very important category. So it's hard to get better than that type of ceiling. That's your ceiling with Bradford. So I don't see either of these guys as necessarily being better. But again, if you can stockpile 2 great quarterbacks, I keep coming back to a saying that Ernie Accorsi, a famous general manager, a fantastic track record, probably a Hall of Fame caliber general manager. He said at one time that if you think you've got a franchise quarterback candidate, for in a draft or you can get in a trade, if you think you've got somebody who could be a franchise quarterback, there's no price too high to pay for that person. So I'm thinking the Eagles think they've got a franchise caliber quarterback in Wentz, and if that's the case, then I'm okay with this trade. But again, did you think you had that in Bradford? And if you don't have a plan for trading Bradford, you're trying to keep both guys. I don't think you'd do it salary cap wise. And if you're not going to be able to, if you've got these 2 guys, one of them's a starter, one of them's on the bench, and like you said, I think we traded messages yesterday. Bradford's only 28 years old. It's not like he's an aging veteran or something of that nature. He's got some track record, or he's got some time in front of him. So it's not like you're trading, got a 33-year-old guy and you're bringing in a 23-year-old to replace him.
Right. I mean, again, this kind of was what I've been going down that road, Casey, is Bradford's 28. It's like you just told him you're not good enough. I mean, I feel like you're at number 8. There's a chance that you get an impact player here. You evaluate Bradford, and if you deem at the end of this year, look, I think Bradford is such a conundrum. I mean, number 1 pick of the draft, rookie of the year, injuries, inconsistency, changing systems, changing offensive coordinators. I really find that he is a guy that is very hard to quantify who he is. But I know it's another new offense this year, but he's healthy. Finally, he played well at the end of last year. I think they should have evaluated him and then made the decision, take number 8. And then, look, at the beginning of this year, nobody knew Carson Wentz or Jared Goff. Paxton Lynch was the guy everybody was talking about. And now he's a distant third. Someone always emerges in this draft process. That's why I think they're making a mistake with reaching. Reaching is what I don't like. Risk, I don't mind. Reaching bothers me.
Yeah, to pay this sort of price. I mean, if they think Wentz is going to be like, the thing is, if Wentz turns out to be a player, then Cleveland's going to look at this trade down the road and go, we made a mistake. We should, because if RG3 doesn't pan out for them and they didn't get Wentz, and then hey, you didn't get Wentz and RG3 doesn't pan out, and then you still get quarterback, I think that the Browns are going to rue this day. But in Philadelphia's case, maybe they were looking at it and point, we've got 2 great quarterbacks and things. But if Wentz doesn't pan out to be this great passer, and you've invested all this money in him, you're putting too much into the position. Because I'd like to be like the Raiders used to be. They used to say we want a great starter, veteran backup, quarterback. Well, if you're putting Wentz into the developmental quarterback, that's fine. But now you still don't have a great backup. You're still not checking out all those boxes. And if you think Wentz is here for today but not here down the road, I don't think you could do that salary cap wise, which is one of the other head scratches about this. I mean, from a talent perspective, I get it, but the Eagles have been so good at managing their cap. How do you manage your cap if you've got 2 quarterbacks? You can do it right for this year. You know how you can do it, but how are you going to do it down the road? You can't. You can't have 2 elite quarterbacks on your roster and pay them and keep your cap in check. And so it's a head scratcher what they're going to do on that front.
Nor keep them happy. I mean, there's already reports that Sam Bradford is frustrated. He's angry. He's mad about this situation. So not only, okay, you draft a guy, you have him sitting here, and then you tell the other guy that you just signed to a 2-year deal. Well, now, I get it. What part of a 2-year deal tells you that you're the long-term answer? But at least you're telling me, all right, I get 2 years to prove it to you. Now you've basically told him you don't even get to 2 years. And soon as let's say they're 2-3 and he plays inconsistent, there's going to be anarchy here. I mean, you've created a bad environment right from the get-go.
Yep. It's only if you think if Wentz is the guy, then you almost have to say you're going to start him for day one, because you think you might have an Aaron Rodgers situation, and I don't know that you could. You don't usually want that kind of situation. And you just mentioned about a quarterback conundrum and things. Yeah, if you've got the Aaron Rodgers situation, that didn't go well. Favre wasn't happy, and it did cause some problems internally in the organization for a time there when they had both those guys. So it's not a good thing. So, but from a talent perspective, the thing is, if Bradford plays really well this year, and Philadelphia could trade high on him after the season, I say, okay, we get to sit Wentz for a year, we get to have Bradford as a quarterback for a year, and Bradford's going to be a good enough quarterback to do something for us, and it drives the value of those picks that we gave to Cleveland potentially down. So then if you can trade him high and get some picks in return, and then you can even it out, that's great. And then you get a short-term plan and a long-term plan. But I can see why they did it, and I can make the case for why it was a good deal for Philadelphia. But all in all, I think there's a lot more risk element here than unless you think Wentz is not just going to be a good quarterback, but he's got to turn out to be one of those real elite franchise quarterbacks.
So I'll ask you then, Casey, because when you sent me the message last night, your reaction was you weren't sure why Eagles fans are giving so much grief about the trade. You said lots of reasons to like the move. So what are some of these reasons that you like the move?
I'm pointing out the reasons I don't like those. The reasons I like the move is you think this guy is your franchise quarterback. Because I'm looking at Wentz going, yeah, okay, what am I checking off that I don't like about Wentz? Okay, well, he's big, he's 6'5", 237. Okay, he's accurate. He's exceptionally accurate. Scout Inc. gives him a 1, which is their best accuracy ranking, and they're really stringent about those accuracy rankings. So he's accurate. He's big. We know he's intelligent. He's highly intelligent. He'll take a hit. I mean, he stands in there when the pass rush is coming, and he'll stand up there. So he's got toughness. And I keep checking off all these boxes, and I could check off 6 Parcells boxes and 7 because you could almost say to the guy, we could have been a 3-year starter. And I can't find a reason to not like this guy. I don't like where you're adding him into this situation, and I get that. But it's almost like people don't think that Wentz could be that good. And it may be that the Eagles said, look, Bradford couldn't stay healthy again this year. He's 28. He's getting older. If he hasn't been able to stay healthy up until now, and I think that's a bit overblown, but maybe, they know something we don't, and he can't stay healthy. Okay, well, if that's the situation, and you think you can't count on him, and you've got this guy once, then yeah, you get a one-shot deal to get there. Go ahead and take the shot and make the deal. I just think that if you know what you're going to do at Bradford and you have a plan to switch to Wentz down the road, then it's a good move because of Wentz's upside. So I just, I understand why people are frustrated about the situation, but maybe there's something the Eagles going to do here that we're not considering. Maybe they've got some kind of a WWE like game plan that we're not taking into account.
Well, you talk about a WWE type of game plan. It's already beginning because as we sit here, Jason Cole of Bleacher Report is reporting that Sam Bradford wants to cut ties with Philadelphia. He wants to be traded. Your colleague Adam Schefter, Casey, reported that Bradford was hot over the news. Who wouldn't be? The tour stole Schefter. This is Philly. This is Philly saying we don't see you as a long-term answer. He's mad, and he wants to show everyone who's best. So it's obvious that Bradford's not happy. Let me ask you, when you talk about Sam Bradford, and you said, the second half of the year that he had last year, do you see that that's the quarterback who he is? Did he not play well in the first half because he was coming off the injury? He was learning a new system. Is Sam Bradford the guy that we saw? Can he be that player consistently?
I personally think, I've been one of the Sam Bradford apologists, I think that he can be that player that he was late last year. I think that when you look at his track record both at Oklahoma and at times in St. Louis, where he put up really good numbers in less than ideal situations, I think that he can be that quarterback. I would bet, if I had to guess what's going on behind the scenes, I would think that Philadelphia says it's tough to keep this guy healthy. We did it some last year, and the health issues may be more overblown because we take out the one season he missed. He's actually been a fairly durable quarterback. But I'll bet there's some issues of thinking we don't think we can keep this guy out there for 16 games, and we're tired of scratching our head every week to think, is our quarterback going to be able to take all the hits? And we want a guy who can sit there and take all the hits. And if you've got that as your problem, and you're looking at 6'5", 237 Carson Wentz, who will take a hit, and it looks to be really durable, even though he had a broken wrist, but that's not, that's a broken bone. It's not like you're not, not like you physically won't stand up to things. That might be a little different situation. If you think that's a guy who can stand in there and you can solve that problem, I think if you're a coach, you're like, hey, let's go saying a durability is the best ability. And I'll bet that maybe they're looking at Bradford and thinking they're never going to get the durability out of him that they desire other quarterbacks.
And that's a fair, I guess, reason, except for the guy coming off of a year and a half of missing basically made it through a full season. Yeah, he missed a couple of games, which is expected around league circles to miss a game or two here and there. I don't know. Again, it goes back to you have number 8. Why not take a player there, evaluate Bradford based on what he does this year, and then make your decision? You have now created a circus atmosphere here, and it's starting right now. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. I guess what I'm trying to get at is that from a personnel perspective, there's enough things to like about Wentz, and if the Wentz part of the situation turns out, it might be a circus today, but if Wentz turns out to be that good, then this is all going to be a good move. And I like a lot of things about him, and I like the idea that you're trading for somebody you think could be that type of a franchise quarterback. And I guess I just have faith in their ability. But again, if he ends up being a top 10 quarterback, well, Sam Bradford could be a top 10 quarterback. So unless he hits that top 5, maybe that's the thing. But maybe they think Wentz is going to be a top 5 quarterback. There's a ton to like about the guy.
Yeah, and look, again, but it's my opinion. That's all. I've seen Carson Wentz play, 2 times in my life. That's part of the problem, though. No one's really seen him play, and not because he played at North Dakota State. He was hurt. And number 2, he didn't play a whole heck of a lot in college, Casey. He sat on the bench for a couple of years. Then he got hurt. He had durability issues himself. He broke his wrist. Goff, of all the guys, he's taking a beating out there, but he kept on getting back up. So if durability is your concern, maybe Wentz isn't your guy either.
Yeah, to break a wrist. It's one of those things where if a quarter, I don't know. It's because Bradford got hurt that one time. A couple of times where he got hurt, you look at the hit and go, wow, I wouldn't expect that guy to get hurt on that hit. Breaking a wrist is kind of a different story. And he did play 23 games, or he did start 23 games in his 2 years because they play extra long because they've got those playoffs up there, and they played, I think, 4 playoff games every year. So he did get 23 games in over 2 years, and yeah, he did sit the bench. That is something of a concern. That's one of the things about the Parcells rules, that why they want you to be a 3-year starter, because Parcells and people before him who helped come up with the rules would ask, if you didn't start 3 years in college, why didn't you start 3 years? So that is a bit of a concern. But
not only that, okay, they say, well, he won a national championship there. So did the guy before him multiple times, and we've never heard of that guy.
Yeah, this is true. This is true, and it's not winning a championship at that level. That's the thing about the Parcells rules too, is that people, and this doesn't apply in Wentz's case, but people will try and apply those rules to some quarterback at a lower tier and say, well, look, he made the Parcells rules. I'm like, yeah, and he's 6 foot, 197 pounds. It doesn't count for guys like that. You've got to be big enough and things. But Wentz is, we know Wentz has the physical ability. It's just what is his ceiling and things, and that's the question. And you got to wonder about, like you just said here, if this is causing Bradford. But then again, they only signed Bradford for 2 years. They were already sending him that message that we don't think you're the guy. And if that's the case, then maybe this is their way of saying, hey, we're just not sold on him, and if we got to trade him for. Maybe they think they're going to be able to get something for him, some kind of deal for him. But then, if that's the case, now you've got a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach, and now you're going into this season with that situation. I'm not sold on that.
Of the 3 guys that we're talking about, Goff, Wentz, Bradford, who will have the best career?
Depends on where they end up necessarily, but if. You know what? If I had to say, if all situations were equal between the 3, I'd probably say Goff. If I had to pick between the 3, if all situations were equal, but not all situations are created equal.
That is true. Casey Joyner, ESPN.com, NFL insider, with his thoughts on the 3 quarterbacks here. And again, I tend to lean to stick with Bradford and roll the dice there. I don't love the 2 guys that are on the board here for them. And now this new news that we'll get into in a minute. Casey, always a pleasure, pal.
Appreciate it, man.